If you love animals and eat meat, this presentation is for you. Many of us consider ourselves animal lovers. We share our homes with pets, support wildlife causes, and speak out against cruelty. But there's one area that often gets overlooked: what's on our plates. What will it take to have a paradigm shift about how we view the food on our plate? Most people do not know what animals experience to become our meals. And most people would rather not know because it's not pleasant to become aware of the details. I encourage you to educate yourself about our agricultural process of factory farming and then determine if you can move in a direction toward a more cruelty-free diet, if you can experience a paradigm shift. It doesn't have to be all at once. In fact, it's my opinion that unless you watch the videos or see the pictures that are available about how animals suffer through their lives and at their deaths, you will not likely make a major change in your diet all at once or at all. But the good news is that even small changes in your diet can have substantial effects on the number of animals raised and killed for food. As you explore this presentation, I encourage you to think about which animal you can eliminate from your diet. Even say a month for one, then another month for another. Animals suffer to become our food, some much more than others and in very different ways. Most of us do not want to support this abuse, but we do support it when we order meat at the restaurants or purchase meat at the market. Please consider keeping an open mind for change as you watch this presentation, not only to learn, but to consider changes to your diet to align with your ethics and conscience. Think of the horror we experience when we hear about other cultures eating dogs and cats. We love our companion animals. Why can we easily eat other sentient beings? We will examine the cultural, psychological, and ethical frameworks that support this disconnect. There are caution slides as we go along, advising of information or pictures that could be hard to look at, or slides that may be emotionally difficult to read, giving you the opportunity to skip them. That said, I've tried to give this presentation a soft touch to a hard subject, meaning that even when I use a caution heads up, the pictures are the lightest of those I could find for the subject being discussed. This presentation highlights one animal or one issue individually in separate segments. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about awareness and empowerment. Let's explore it together. Let's start at the beginning by taking a look at what factory farming is and how it operates, then move on to the animals and then to other relevant issues. Let's review what this presentation will cover. I will present a comprehensive overview of the factory farming of pigs, chickens, turkeys, and cows, both beef and dairy cows. We will learn about how these animals are raised, what the standard industry practices are, which I believe will surprise you, and how the animals are transported and how they meet their end. The slaughter is an area where there will be a caution page for you to skip if you prefer. We will discuss the issue of humane washing, the differences in the meaning of egg labels, cage-free versus pasture-raised versus free-range, and what does it mean if the carton doesn't say anything. We'll look at how factory farming affects our health and the environment. And finally, there will be a call to action asking you if you might consider a paradigm shift after all this learning. Let's begin. Please keep in mind that the information in this presentation focuses on large agricultural animal farming operations. The statistics quoted are primarily for the United States, but factory farming is a global issue. Globally, all numbers used would be substantially higher. Factory farming is a global issue, not only in the United States. Please consider watching this 9-minute video by Animals Australia that gives an excellent overview of the effects of factory farming. The link is listed below. Let's start at the beginning. What is factory farming? Factory farming is also known as intensive animal farming or concentrated animal feeding operations, CAFO. It is a large-scale agricultural practice where animals are raised in confined spaces to maximize production of meat, eggs, or milk at minimal cost. Nearly 10 billion animals are killed annually in the United States. Of the 10 billion animals killed, many are confined in small spaces, often indoors for their entire lives. 99% of animals raised for food are from factory farms, so 99% of what you purchase or order in a restaurant comes from a factory farm. Factory farms maximize profit at the expense of the animals, the environment, and public health. This chart shows the years 1961 through 2020. Factory farming first got underway in the 1920s. As we'll learn later, antibiotics enabled raising livestock in large numbers in the 1940s by reducing disease. It was discovered that birds would continue to lay eggs even when crammed into sheds. As you can see on this chart, factory farming has risen steadily, and factory farming is anticipated to continue increasing. The need to feed a global population of 1 billion human beings in 1800 has risen to 8.2 billion in 2024. Global meat production has increased significantly, and intensive farming methods have become more prevalent to meet this demand. Global meat production has more than tripled over the past 50 years. On the left graph, we can see that the light orange shows the number in billions of chickens killed for food versus the darker color representing egg-laying hens, turkeys, pigs, and cows combined. The graph on the right breaks down all the animals represented by the darker color on the left graph. You can see that meat chickens are the majority shown in light green, then the other animals represented by the smaller segments. These numbers represent the 99% of animals raised for food on factory farms, and 90% of 99% are chickens. Every day, over 23 million land animals are killed on these farms in the U.S., 1 million every hour, around 266 every second. Globally, there are far higher numbers of animals killed, with approximately 2,457 animals killed per second on factory farms. You can see the impact on chickens relative to other animals by the variance of the numbers on the chart. If farmed and aquatic animals are included, the number of animals killed would increase from 8 billion to over 13 billion animals per year. It has been shown that factory farming harms wildlife, impacts the environment, creates health risks, abuses animals, exploits workers, and raises severe ethical issues. We will look at each of these issues in this presentation. This is a picture of a factory farm. The waste from a factory farm adds up to almost 1 trillion pounds of manure each year. The manure is stored on the farm in piles or vast pits that are prone to leakage, which can contaminate the drinking water for the people who depend on wells in the area. Nationally, 1/3 of U.S. rivers are considered in poor shape for fish, mainly due to farm runoff. These are two of my favorite quotes. Paul McCartney said, "If slaughterhouses had glass walls, everyone would be vegetarian." And from Mahatma Gandhi, "The most dangerous weapon on the planet is the table fork." Despite the huge numbers, most of these animals are kept inside farms with no windows, and we have no indication as to what goes on inside their walls. Let's take a look now inside the walls of a factory farm. Please watch the upcoming separate segments. We will discuss the lives of pigs in detail on factory farms. We will look at the lives of chickens and turkeys separately and go through their entire life cycle on a factory farm. We will look at the lives of beef and dairy cows, which are very different, and how they live on factory farms. We will discuss slaughterhouse workers, humane washing, do you know what that is? Egg labels, which can be very confusing, and what the future potentially holds for the meat industry. Here is some information for you on ways to tailor your diet. Are you familiar with the variations of diets which eliminate all or some animal products? This list helps to clarify the differences. Take a look and see if one of them appeals to you, and perhaps you can start a paradigm shift. But remember, slowly is okay too, and small choices make a big difference. I've prepared a listing of recommended reading that addresses factory farming in various ways, along with a short description of the book's focus. Here's a listing of movies that focus on animal agriculture and are all very well done and worth watching. This list of recipe websites will provide endless choices in all categories. Please check them out. These plant-based products are my favorites and I recommend them. However, if you try a brand and you don't like it, try another because they are all very different.